Hey, are you looking for a job?
College students all over the country are researching employers, polishing their resumes, and buying their first suit as they prepare for the next step. Career fairs are one important tool for students seeking to enter the job market. In order to stand out, you've got to be prepared. Over the next half hour, we'll hear from students, employers, recruiters, and experts on how to navigate career fairs for a successful future. Remember, it's your time to find your career. Today, we're at the largest university-sponsored career fair in the country to explore the first step for many students in the job search process. We caught up with some students navigating the career fair for the first time. Let's get their impressions.
Hi, my name is Deborah Mercado and I'm from New York City. I'm a first-year student, so I don't really have a major, but I'm really interested in actuarial science, and this is my first time at a career fair, so let's go see what there is to see.
Hi, I'm Shannon, and I'm a freshman in the College of Communications, and I've heard it was a good idea to come and walk around, not talk to anybody, but just see what it's like, so I'm going to go walk around. This is really big. It's so huge.
Definitely very busy. A lot of different technical companies, some that I haven't even heard of.
People are dressed really professionally. There's suits and skirts. There's no jeans.
Some of the booths have long lines. I guess some companies are just more popular than others.
I am glad I did this. It was a really good idea to come freshman year because it doesn't really matter. I don't need to talk to anybody, but like junior and senior year, I'm going to need to talk to people. So now I know what to expect.
My name is Deborah Mercado. Nice to meet you. That was my first experience of a college career fair. I'm glad I experienced this because now I can be ready for my next career fair. But now I have to get going because I have math class. Thanks for hanging. See you later.
Wow, seeing a career fair for the first time must be amazing. From freshman impressions to veteran experience, we turn to Jack Raymond, who has 27 years of experience and is Senior Director of Penn State Career Services. Jack, why should students think about career fairs?
Well, I think one of the main reasons is it gives them an opportunity, especially freshmen and sophomores, to gain exposure to the world of work, to find out what kind of opportunities are out there for them. For juniors and seniors, it often leads to on-campus interviews and ultimate employment. So it's just a great way to gain access to the employment world all in one place without a lot of travel expense.
Now, you're a veteran of career fairs. How have they changed over the years?
Well, when they first started out, the emphasis was really on helping freshmen and sophomores learn more about the world of work. Over the years, they've evolved more into a kind of an extravaganza which meets the needs of freshmen and sophomores, but also provides employers with an opportunity to actually source juniors and seniors for co-op, internship, and full-time employment. And often, in conjunction with the career fairs, we hold interviews on the following day. So it really has become kind of a complete package.
One thing that Shannon, the freshman communications major, said that I thought was interesting was she said she'd heard that it would be a good thing for her to attend a career fair as a freshman. Would you agree with that?
Well, absolutely. One of the problems is many students come to the university with no idea about careers or what they really want to do. And one way to find out, in a fairly low-risk way, really, is to go to a fair as a freshman where there's not much pressure, walk around, talk to as many employers as you can, and really get a feeling for what it's all about.
Well, speaking of employers, as you know, the Wall Street Journal recently published a survey where Penn State came out #1 among recruiters, and there were a couple of Big Ten schools, Illinois and Purdue, that were in the top 5. What does this mean for Penn State and these other Big Ten schools?
Most of the Big Ten schools are large, and they have very large colleges of engineering and business, and they graduate a lot of high-quality students in a broad range of different fields. So it does give employers the opportunity to kind of do one-stop shopping. They can come to almost any Big Ten campus to a career fair and really see a broad range of students in terms of skills, background, and so on and so forth. So it's a very efficient way, I think, for them to interact with students at the university.
Jack, how many career fairs in a given year here on the Penn State campus?
Typically we run about 7 a year. Our biggest one is the fall fair, but we also run one in the spring. We also do a graduate fair for those who might be going on to graduate or professional school, and we do teacher fairs, and we even do a summer jobs fair in the spring semester.
And how do successful career fairs fit into a recruiter's overall strategy and priorities?
The main aspect of it, I think, is it allows them to really keep their brand on campus, to keep the name of their organization before students. Sometimes employers actually come to campus, interact with students at a career fair, and they don't really have employment at that particular time, knowing that they will down the road. But they really want students to know who they are, what they're about, the kinds of opportunities they have, kind of over the long term, so that when the students do get toward the end of their junior and senior year, they'll know where to turn, what kind of opportunities are available, what companies will be coming to campus.
Well, to find out more about why companies find career fairs such an attractive place to discover new talent, we went straight to the source and asked recruiters.
We really like to come to the big schools because we know we have students here that have a really strong academic background that well prepares them to go into the workforce. And so we're looking for people that are our future leaders in our company. We want folks that can work in teams, that have been a leader.
Career fairs are huge. We have honestly gotten some of our best talent that we have been able to pull in and retain from the career fairs.
Well, I think coming to a career fair gives the students the opportunity to meet with recruiters from the company, and so they don't actually have to travel, we travel, but it gives us an opportunity to meet a lot of students in a very short amount of time.
From our standpoint, a lot of times we'll come down here looking for 7, 8 different degrees all at one time. So it's one-stop shopping for us.
We're able to find a diverse background of students and able to really find exactly what we're looking for. So it's huge for us, and we're very committed to coming to career fairs and finding our people here.
Corporate recruiters view career fairs as serious business. We'll help you get serious about preparing for the career fair when we return. For more on It's Your Time, visit iyt.psu.edu. For additional content and episodes from the It's Your Time series, visit findyourfuture.psu.edu.
I think it's really important for students to prepare for career fairs, and not only for the companies but for themselves. Employers have only so much time to spend with each student. I think they look for the student to do a lot of preparation on the basic information about that company prior to coming to the career fairs.
I got on the Career Services website and just searched people who would be looking for a chemistry major and went through and checked out who I'd be interested in. I brought my resume and then I jotted down some notes about the companies that I want to talk to today. They tell you preparation is how you get a job, so fingers crossed. I don't think my parents want me back on the couch, so.
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
The first impression is huge because the one thing you don't want to do is come up to an employer and say, so what does your company do? What jobs do you have? Because that shows me you've done no research, you've done nothing, you just showed up and you're just begging for jobs. You don't care about my firm, you don't care about what our jobs are, you just want somebody to hire you and give you a paycheck. On the flip side of that, somebody comes up and says, I've looked on your website, your summer internship program sounds exactly what I'm looking to do you have this opportunity available in addition to that? That proves to me that they've gone out, they've done work, they know that this is, yes, a firm I want to work for, this is an industry I want to be in, and it really lets that conversation move a little bit more deep and get a little more information out on the table.
Make sure that you're putting everything you can on your resume. Make sure that your phone number and your email address are on there, of course, but also promote the things that you do, not only in the classroom but outside. Don't make it hard on the recruiter to kind of dig and pull that information out of you.
AP credits. Okay, great.
Just don't be overwhelmed by the size of it. Just because they're one of many doesn't mean they're not that one person that one of these employers is looking for.
Jack, all the recruiters emphasize preparation is essential. So my question to you is, when and how should students prepare for a career fair?
These fairs are large. There may be 500 companies at a fair. So it's really essential that a student look through that program in advance, find out which companies are coming, which companies hire which kinds of majors, what kind of opportunities they have before the fair, so that when they get to the fair, it's not as overwhelming to them and they can kind of go straight to the appropriate booths. Another aspect of preparation is just looking at the floor of the arena and figuring out where these companies are. Again, At most career fairs, a map will be provided online in advance so that you can kind of plan your attack before you even enter the arena. Then obviously the other thing is to really do some preparation in terms of what does the company do, where are they located, so on and so forth, so that you don't end up doing what a couple of the students said, asking the company, well, what does your company do anyway? Obviously, that's not the kind of question that an employer looks forward to hearing.
Well, one young woman on the video said she even made notes for herself, right, about what the companies do that she's interested in. Is that a good strategy?
Sure. I think if you carry some notes with you, it can help immeasurably once you get to the fair to use your time there very productively. Some employers actually will take resumes in advance online, so that's another thing you can do prior to even going to the fair.
Should students prep questions ahead of time?
What they need to do is think about the company and think of some sort of general questions. I think you have to avoid really canned questions because obviously that will be apparent to the employer that these are really canned and you're not really sincere about it. But I think in most cases it's good to think quite a bit about it in advance because the more you prepare, the more likely you'll be comfortable and confident as you interact.
Well, as you know, students spend lots of hours on social networking sites, and I'm just wondering, any tips for using social networking at all ahead of a career fair?
Probably one of the most important things to do is to be careful about what you put out there on your own site, because that can be deadly. One of the things that we've found is that I think most companies and organizations and students are evolving away from Facebook more to LinkedIn, which seems to be kind of the social network of choice in terms of professional career development. So we're encouraging students to have a LinkedIn site and to really put most of their energy in terms of the job search into working with LinkedIn.
Well, Jack, there's one more all-important question that we haven't talked about yet, and that is, of course, what to wear.
You want to make sure that you're kind of dressed appropriately so that you actually don't stand out. You want your resume to stand out. You want your experiences and your background to stand out. But looking as a professional, very clean, very well-groomed is also very important as well.
And that doesn't mean you have to go out and buy a very expensive suit. You can put together something that looks very professional for not a lot of money, actually. What I would recommend is you do try to find something, whether it's a blazer or dress pants, or for women, a nice skirt. For men, I would suggest you wear a tie.
You don't want to be wearing flashy stiletto shoes. You may be wearing, just very reserved, comfortable shoes. And I think it tells something about the person. Are they standing out? Or are they being kind of functional in their shoes that they wear?
It's always better to be a little overdressed than underdressed. You'll be judged by your appearance.
Jack, that career fair outfit is so important because it contributes to a strong first impression. But students are on a budget. Can you give us any tips?
Well, I think that the point that one of the employers made is a good one. You don't have to have an $800 suit to be dressed appropriately, but you do want to be neat and you want to be conservative and cautious about what you wear. Generally, what we advise is that you sort of take your clothing and your dress out of the equation so that the focus is more on you and what your talents are and what you bring to the table. And the way to do that is to dress fairly conservatively.
Any absolute don'ts?
There are probably a lot of absolute don'ts. I mean, no white socks, no shorts, no low-cut dresses, those kinds of things. But common sense is, I think, is a really big part of this. Just being fairly conservative in your dress. Suits for men and women, not garish colors, sort of grays and dark blues. And I think that will serve most people well.
Okay, all great advice. We'll share the good, the bad, and the ugly of career fairs in just a moment. It's your time to find your career.
The good is enthusiastic, well-informed, they've done a lot of homework, they know who they want to work for, they know what field they want to be in. The bad is it's unfortunately a nerve-wracking experience because it's your future, you're trying to find your career path, this might be the next 20 years of your life. And the ugly is sometimes you meet great people but you just don't have something for them. They're doing something completely different from what you have available and you want to make that connection but you can't.
Jack, career fairs attract a wide variety of students, from freshmen to graduate students, from students looking for internships to students looking for jobs. My question to you is, how should each one of these groups approach it?
For a freshman or a sophomore, the goal is probably career exploration more than anything. So it's less important that they be dressed for success and perfectly, because it's a little bit more forgiving kind of a relationship that they're going to have. On the other hand, if you're a senior or graduate student and you're really looking for full-time employment and looking for it soon, then you probably need to be quite a bit more formal and a lot more organized. It's not so forgiving. You better have your resume in tip-top shape. You better be on top of your game. You better look right. So it clearly does vary depending on what your goal is, because you're right, the fairs do cover a lot of different kinds of relationships, so you need to be aware of that.
Can you talk a little bit about follow-up? What should students do after the career fair is over?
Actually, a lot. There's a lot of things that need to be done after the fair. Well, I mean, at the very least, while you're at the fair, it probably makes sense to collect business cards from all of these people. And then at least you have the opportunity to follow up if something really clicked for you and you've really felt like you wanted to interact with them. So that's the first thing, make sure you do that. But then any positive interaction that you've had, you might want to follow up with an email, a letter, or even a telephone call, because you'll have all that information on the business card. And that really feels good to an employer. If they resonated to you at the fair and then you follow up, then that looks pretty good for developing some kind of an ongoing relationship.
After the initial face-to-face meeting with Boeing at the career fair, I sent emails and made sure they knew that I was interested. They actually contacted me then eventually and said, we have an opening. My name is Phil Horn. I'm a supply chain major, and I landed my internship with Boeing through connections made at the career fair.
Jack, do jobs come from career fairs? Can students realistically expect to walk out with a piece of paper that says, you have a job?
Well, the short answer is yes, for a small percentage. But that does depend a great deal on the job market and the economy. In a down economy, probably the most realistic expectation is that you might leave with an interview. At the very least, most students should leave with a better understanding of the kind of opportunities that are out there and of the kinds of companies that are on campus recruiting.
I'm not here to knock anyone out of the process. I can't give anyone a job today at the career fair, but we try to stay in touch with people. We encourage them to check back with us. We might not have something that they're looking for specifically, today in September, but check back in March. It does take a little bit of persistence. This isn't the only, if you don't get a job here, it's nothing in the world. You got to come back and check it again.
A final recap and do's and don'ts when we return. Many college graduates are finding success as they enter the job market. Alums like Paul Hostetter. Now with Rembrandt Foods, Paul had the opportunity to return to campus to recruit for his company. He offers advice on the importance of career fairs.
I come from the food production agriculture industry. A lot of times there's a whole supporting cast in that industry. You also need journalism, microbiologists, engineers, communications, human resources, information systems, what I'm involved in. So understanding what other industries have your type of job. In a career fair, you go there and you may not realize that a large agriculture company has a need for communications majors or public relations majors. So a career fair brings all those different recruiters under one roof, and it's important to go and learn what every company has out there.
And now for some career fair do's and don'ts.
Do be personable and be confident. And I think that these are the biggest things that anyone's looking for. The more you can talk and tell us about yourself, the more we're going to feel comfortable and confident bringing you in to our team.
Hi, can I help you?
Jeff, nice to meet you.
Have an idea at least of what classes you liked. And then as a recruiter, I can turn around and say, well, here are some functions that you might be equipped to do at Boeing. And additionally, here are some classes you might think of taking your junior, senior years to make yourself a better candidate in those areas.
Thank you very much.
Do your research prior to approaching the career fair booth, and understanding that companies' needs will go a long way.
If you've been given an interview, don't be late.
Go to a career fair before you're in the midst of the job hunting process. So come out your freshman year, see what it's all about, and maybe start listening in on what conversations sound like. So that way when you're coming for real, looking for an internship, looking for a full-time position, you already have a better sense of what the process is going to be. It's not so new and overwhelming.
A good interview is a good conversation. So don't be afraid to take pauses. Don't be afraid to think. Don't be afraid to wait a few minutes to give the best answer that you possibly can, because this is just about getting to know you as an individual to understand if you're the right fit for our team.
Jack, we've gotten do's and don'ts from career fair recruiters. What are your tips?
Well, the first thing there is to prepare effectively for the fair. Do your homework. Don't go into the fair unprepared. The second thing is your appearance. You only get one chance to make a first impression, so don't blow it. The third is make sure your resume is tuned up and ready to go, that you've had people proof it, that you've shared it with other people whose judgment you trust and they feel comfortable with it and you feel confident about it. The fourth element, make sure that your interactions with the employer are positive and confident so that the contact you make really leads you to a positive outcome. And finally, follow up after you've been at the fair. Make sure you send thank you notes to those employers that you had a particularly useful interaction with. Make sure you get business cards so that you have the opportunity to do that.
Jack, where else can students go if they want additional tips?
There are a lot of places in the university. Their Career Center is certainly one place that they should go. Most career centers have web pages that offer a lot of advice. So if you can't get into the Career Center, you can gain access to this over the web. Most internship and co-op offices have staff members who can sit and talk with you and assist you, your advisor, faculty members, and then all the workshops and seminars that are available on almost any college or university campus.
A lot of absolutely terrific resources. Thanks to all of our students and career fair recruiters for sharing their experiences, and of course, a special thanks to you, Jack, for joining us. You can find even more career advice, including additional job-winning tips and a video tutorial on how to tie a tie at findyourfuture.psu.edu. We hope you can use this information as you approach the job market. Remember, it's your time to find your career.
This has been a production of WPSU.